I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. We'll start with the minutes from July 3rd. Everybody reviewed the minutes? If so, a motion? Motion by Rich, second by Jim. Discussion? All in favor? July 17th minutes. Motion by Dave, second by Rich. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. August 14th minutes. Motion by Jim, second by Rich. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. We have a presentation tonight. Steve Buck from Luxury Apartments. Steve's coming for a temporary seal for the condos that were there. He came to our office and spoke to us, and also Joe. Steve.
Yeah, so the reason for my request, I've got people who sold their house and they're going to be moving into the condos, and I anticipate having the revised site plan approved 2 months ago, and then there was a stormwater issue that came up with the Cardinal Estates property next door that we worked to resolve with the town engineer. We got that done. And then the New York State DOT threw a monkey wrench into the process they came back and asked us to combine our driveway with Cardinal Estates and to eliminate our other access road, which, we're not really interested in doing that. And I believe that DOT has backed off because it was never part of the original approval. It was never part of the original DOT comments on the project. And so we're going to need a little bit more time to clean up what I thought should have been a pretty easy process, but it's turned into a nightmare. Until we get the revised site plan approved, I was just seeking the same approval that we have for temporary CO on the apartments to get temporary COs for the condominiums.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Steve, we gave you approval for temporary COs on some of the apartments, correct?
Yes.
And I know at that time there was discussion about the two driveways. I remember Dave, he had some questions. Is the one driveway the one that they want you to combine with Cardinal Estates? The one that you have a gate across now?
Right, well, DOT wanted to remove the second entrance to the site.
When you say the second, as you face the property, there's one on the left and
the one on the right is what they wanted to eliminate, because the main road is the one that's paved, that's in right now. The one to the west, which is to the right as you're facing the property, DOT wanted us, to eliminate that. But they also wanted us to combine Cardinal Estates driveway with ours, which it's kind of ludicrous that they would even ask two separate property owners to do that. And like I said, it was never part of the original approval. It was never part of any comments that DOT brought forth on the original secret process. And so, but I believe, according to Brian Madigan from Gymo, they backed off of that. And, so that, as far as I know, is no longer an issue.
So has Beth Watts from DOT given you anything saying that you're removing that request?
I believe that Brian Madigan was coordinating with Heather on the planning board over the whole disposition of that. Well, my understanding from Brian Madigan is that issue has gone away with DOT.
Joe, we gave building permits and then we gave temporary COs in the main building where the apartments are?
We gave building permits for the multifamily building, the 4-story structure. We gave building permits for the condos off to the left, 2 sets of them. And we've got a temporary CO on the multifamily 4-story structure. Steve's requesting a temporary CO on, what, the 7 units,
The
8 units
Yeah.
that are on this contract?
Steve, the stormwater issue, that site in particular is critical that the stormwater issues all be addressed adequately. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
GIMO has passed on whatever changes need to be made, and it's my understanding it's in the neighborhood of that driveway we're talking about.
Yeah,
next to
that's-
Cardinal Estates.
That's exactly what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
So, go ahead.
So if I can expound on it a little bit. So, what the issue is that there's a main drainage channel that comes down through our property that drains the 400 acres of Brock's property that's up above us, okay? So, on our property, we have 100% of our stormwater detention in place, although we don't have 100% of our impervious surfaces constructed. So, we had a torrential downpour of rain, and what ended up happening is that the rain coming down that main drainage channel, it ran into the two 18-inch pipes that header into a box culvert at Route 12B. And when they began to back up, what happened is that it leaked over the shoulder of the creek bed
Into Cardinal.
into Cardinal Estates, okay? And so, what's gonna happen now is that we're gonna be, we have plans that we're gonna be submitting to GIMO through the planning board process and everything that we're going through, where we're gonna remove some sections of the 18-inch pipe, and we're gonna put new end sections on it, because that way there, it helps the flow of the water actually get into the pipe.
Channels a little bit.
Right, it channels it better. And then we're gonna construct a berm along the property line so that if we ever did get a torrential downpour, there wouldn't be any leakage out of that creek bed into Cardinal Estates. And so that's submitted to GIMO, this Friday on official drawings. We've had sketches going back and forth, between.
So the GIMO will be passing on the size and volume and the whole 9 yards. Am I correct, Joe?
Yeah, I don't know about that berm though, because Cardinal Estates drains into that same ditch from their driveway.
Right, on the other side of the berm, there's gonna be a swale,
Okay.
so that their parking lot is gonna be draining on the east side of the berm, and the creek is gonna be on the west side of the berm, and then they'll converge at that drop inlet. That's at the
Right, you also said you're gonna channel the water into 218?
No, the creek bed is gonna channel into the 218s.
Wasn't there a
218s were gonna be removed.
Back to, there's gonna be 20 feet left of pipe. So right now, they're about 80 feet. Those pipes are gonna be removed back and new end sections put on so that the water can channel into them. So essentially, it's gonna be an open ditch, and then those two 18-inch pipes are gonna allow the water to channel into the 30-inch box culvert that goes under Route 12B.
Steve, wasn't there talk of a 24? Because I'm wondering if you make it bigger, but then it narrows down, isn't it still going to back up?
Well,
I thought the talk was about 24
There-
or larger.
there was talk about adding a 24-inch.
Because I was in a meeting a couple weeks ago, and you weren't there, but I know, I thought Brian talked. Rick, do you remember that?
Yes,
What was your recollection?
the we had 24-inch, one with 18s.
So we're going to have a 24 and an 18, not two 18s.
Right, there was discussion on that, okay, and my engineer Al has been going back and forth with Brian, because there was also discussion about creating an open ditch right to the box culvert. Okay, so right now, the current discussion is, it's the next version past that. We were gonna add a 24-inch pipe all the way up to where the pipes come in now.
Right.
Okay, but what I explained to Brian and to my engineer is the fact that if we pull those pipes downhill, okay, those pipes, it doesn't matter if they're 20 feet or if they're 80 feet, but if we shorten them up to 20 feet, then the water is gonna be well past Cardinal Estates, and it's not gonna flood their parking lot, even in a torrential downpour, because the water will be past their property. So, Brian Madigan from Dymo has been coordinating with Al Zangrelli, and we've got official drawings that are going to be submitted, outlining the sketches that they've been passing back and forth.
In this bermed area, it's obviously going to hold the water, but where's the water going to go?
It's not going to hold the water. It's just,
Well, if it's a berm, it's raised up, and the water isn't going to go to Cardinal Estates, but it's going to back up onto your property?
no. It's so in the what was happening is the channel isn't deep enough. What the berm's going to do is it's going to increase the depth of the channel, so that you have more shoulder to keep the water channel.
Oh, so you're going to deepen rather than raise?
Right, and like to Joe's point, this is going to be the channel of the main water stream coming from up above, and right along this side there's going to be a swale that's going to drain Cardinal Estates parking lot, which currently heads into that channel, and then they're going to converge down below once those pipes are removed back towards Route 12B.
The choke point, the issue where it flooded was because there were two 18s and it was not enough. Is that a true statement?
Yes.
So our engineer and your engineer have decided that an 18 and a 24 or what is going to solve the issue?
The last version of the discussion was we were going to bring a 24-inch pipe all the way up to where the existing two 18-inch pipes. We're going to take out one 18-inch pipe and put in a 24. Okay. But again, the problem with that is that you can still have backup. And so what I suggested was those pipes, the ditch can convey the water downstream further, so that if you end up having any backup underneath the DOT, Cardinal Estates won't get flooded out. It'll stay in the channel. And so, so anyway, that's the second generation, and so what the engineers were talking about is that if we put end sections on those pipes, the two 18-inch pipes, then that should be enough to get the water to properly flow into and collect that water that's coming down the main channel. So like I said, that's how we got from the discussion about the 24-inch pipe coming up 80 feet to the existing location versus creating more of an open ditch and getting the water downstream where it should be.
Okay, and the other question is, any possibility of that going over 12B? Certainly it's possible, but it's...
Well, Dave, wasn't there a gentleman
Yes.
here
The kids
that
flood.
was very concerned because
Exactly.
the water runs over 12B
Exactly.
onto his or her
It
property?
goes right in the driveway, sandbags it.
Has that happened again? or-
No, not that I know of.
Oh.
But
No, like I said, what's happening right now is it's like if there's a low shoulder on the one side of the creek bed,
yeah,
and it's leaking over into Cardinal Estates. And so when we had that torrential downpour, you had water trying to get out of Cardinal Estates property, converging with the water coming down the creek. And so they were fighting each other, and the creek water actually bled out into, Cardinal Estates, property. So we're going to bifurcate them and create two separate channels, and then they'll drop in once they're past Cardinal Estates parking lot and building.
Okay, and we're gonna have assurances from our engineer that this will take the volume.
Well, I spoke with Guy, yes, and before he gets the full CO anyway,
Right.
all this is gonna be taken care of.
Right.
I think today he's just looking for a temporary CO,
Right.
again, just so we can keep the project going.
Right.
And then all this is gonna be taken care of. Brian says that he's been complying with everything, so I don't see any issues, nothing.
Okay, just be aware that this is a hot button issue as far as I'm sure the whole board, because stormwater and that watershed up there has changed, and you've accounted for it up to this choke point, what appears to be the issue, so.
Yeah, we've met with Guy 4 or 5 times, and I think he's on the right track. We just gotta get there, that's all.
So, was any of this factored in when you came, before us with the plans and the drawings and the engineer studies and the volumes of water?
Well, it wasn't contemplated in any discussion, or, it's just, it's something that showed up in that one particular, rain event. And, Rick was put in a position several years ago with DOT where he had to do something, so he did what made the most amount of sense at that time, which is to put in the double barrel 18-inch pipes to at least collect it and channel it. And so now we're just modifying that a little bit, and we just need to channel that water so that it gets past Cardinal Estates, but without flooding their parking lots.
Yeah, just to mirror what Councilman Reynolds said, basically, you're just in front of us tonight, but I mean, the other ones that come forth, and you were the first, I think, a couple years ago, we were probably pretty strong with you in regards to stormwater, and because of the history in the past, as we've seen with other developers, they would develop, and then afterwards, the towns hold the bag for, trying to fix the stormwater. But, I mean, we've all changed some things since then, but that's where I think the concern is. And again, we're not directing anything towards you, so I don't want you to feel like we're picking on you. We're just saying.
I feel good about the fact that, as I laid out at the approval meeting, on a normal rainfall, our property is actually holding back 27% more stormwater than before we started. And in a 100-year storm event, it's like 49 or 51% more water that our stormwater detention ponds will hold back coming off of our property, which we've engineered, we've designed it, and it's built. The one thing that we can't deal with, and it's kind of beyond our purview, is the 400 acres behind us that's coming down that channel. And with these big rain events that we've been getting, it's creating headaches, for everybody. But in a spirit of cooperation, like I said, we're willing to work on it. But the one thing I want to be clear about is that it's that particular water is water that's not from our property, but the stormwater is coming off of our property in a controlled release, fashion. So.
Joe, what conditions do you put on the temporary to
Well,
get it full?
that was my next question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. Is the parking lot going to be?
Because you're gonna have people moving in with the temporary CO, right?
Is the parking lot going to be complete? Is the drainage going to be complete? What's the board setting forth as the criteria? And what time limit are they putting on the temporary CO?
Those are the key questions, because when he gets the temporary COs, people can occupy.
Right.
The question becomes, what does he have to do before they can get the full CO, and what time frame has to be set forth? And then, obviously, if he doesn't get it, people are gonna have to move out.
And I guess the question would be to Joe, what's critical right now preventing him from getting a temporary?
Well, I would think the parking lot would have to be in, it's all crushed stone right now. Critical, bare minimum critical, or just,
Well, it was I thought that the only issue was this drainage.
no, I mean, the site still is a construction site, it's not finished yet. And then he's still got 8 units below, 6 units,
Six,
6 units
yep.
below that are, framed. So are you limiting the temporary CO to the 8 above and the multi-dwelling? Or does this include the 6 units below too?
But what are you requesting?
Well, we're requesting, temporary CO as the town sees fit. I mean, initially on the 8-unit building, but,
Right,
But-
and it's done.
right, but now that we're losing summer, some of the drainage stuff may end up having to get done April 1st. And so by April 1st, I got, Joe, to answer the question on the paving, the paving is gonna be done by October 15th for all 14 units. All of the storm piping is in, all of the sanitary is in, all the water line is in, all the fire hydrants are in. And so all, just to properly use the facility, we have to have all that critical stuff done anyways. But I would like to get, approval for temporary CO for the 14 units, because if we have some drainage stuff that gets pushed back into April to get finished up, I don't want to be held up on the other 6 units if I got people that want to move in on April 1st.
Okay, you understand our concern on
Steve, that drainage situation is too easy to fix to let it go until April. You're gonna have a winter thaw and not solve the drainage problem?
No, I'm, if we can, I'm willing to do the work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but again, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? I mean, do we want to get on the phone, with the engineers, say, what work can we do immediately? Because, like I said, if they're good with us, taking the 2 pipes back, and getting the end sections on right now, and I could have that work done in a day.
That's what I mean, it's a day's work. I can't see it waiting until April.
Right, that's never us getting stuff done, that's never the issue. The issue is getting the ink stamp that says, all right, this is what's approved.
All right, so you get your site plan approval, you can do it. But it shouldn't wait until after the thaw.
Well, no, like I said, if I had somebody's blessing today, I'd go remove them tomorrow morning. But, it's the painful process of due diligence that we're going through that.
Or would the board feel comfortable giving him approval based on Guymo's approval?
Well, that's kind of where I thought we were going, that we would take action if our engineer, Guy Mo, or whoever is doing it, Guy Mo.
Well, they already, again, maybe I'm wrong, but last time I spoke to them, which was yesterday, they approved this. I think it's up to Joe to tell us on his end if he approves it. Guy Mo is okay at this point to do a temporary, not the full CO, because it's not all done. Or he's asking for a temporary. So I don't, that's where I guess, this project still has to go through approval. It's gonna be, the burden's on him if he can't get this done, the people are in there.
So what did Guy Mo approve?
Well, Guymo said there'd be no issues to give him a temporary CO.
What's the
For the
piping
drainage.
configuration that they approved?
There's not,
Well, the parking lot-
there's nothing approved.
That's what I mean.
There's nothing that's approved.
So back to my question, would the board feel comfortable in Guymo approving a plan, giving him direction to fix the problem prior to going to the planning board and going through the formality?
That's what,
That's
do you
exactly-
have an application in front of the planning board for an amendment to final?
Yeah,
Right now,
yeah.
are you on the October agenda?
Well, we're getting the final details on the drawing so that they can be
Because
submitted.
I thought we had a staff review, and I didn't think you were there.
No, Brian didn't have us come to the meeting because he wanted, he wanted to get.
Because I remember him talking about it, and the two pipes, the 218s, and the,
His guy in his office was on vacation when we were pushing to get on the meeting agenda. His guy couldn't review it because he wasn't in the office, so we got pushed back.
to what? Are you on, because I know Heather's great in terms of, if you want to be on, she'll get you on.
But you gotta have a report from Guymo before you go to the board. Yes?
We've Alexandrelli is preparing drawings based
But
upon,
Al Zangari is your,
as my engineer. He's getting drawings together to submit, official hard copy stamped
Yep,
drawings
yep.
that conforms to the discussions that he's been having with Brian Madigan at Guymo. And so Guymo does their final review, and like I said, one day after I have the okay, and I know that Guymo is good with the plan, I can have the work done in a day, provided it's what we're talking about.
Paving the parking lot?
No, I'm talking the storm.
Right.
the
But
storm.
you are going to pave the parking lot, too, as a condition of the temporary CO, correct?
Oh, yeah, we can't occupy without the paving being there.
Joe, question, so you got the parking lot and the drainage, what other things that are there? How about for safety, everything?
The fire department has raised an issue that they want two active roads.
That was the two roads.
That was the two-road issue.
Which we're not in a financial position. I can't put in a $120,000 road, okay, for a phase that's not going to be built for 2 years. And it wasn't a mandate as part of our original approval, and quite frankly, I'd be better off withdrawing, my permit for a site plan and just stick with our original. So, we're gonna have to get that resolved, with the fire department, because, that's just something that's financially impossible for us to do.
But you were gonna keep it because of the heavy equipment coming through, you were gonna keep that road with a gate and.
When we build the next phase,
Right. So instead of paving it and getting groomed, you were saying,
right, that road's not needed
Right.
until
Until
we
you do
actually,
it.
until we build those additional units. And like I said, when we go to build them, that road would get destroyed with the construction.
So which ones are complete right now? Which ones are complete, the town hall? Not the ones that are framed up there over there, but the ones that are actually complete now that you can rent?
There's eight units that'll be punched out within the next 4 weeks.
All
So
right,
that's only 44 units. So to be serviced by one road, I don't think that's a big deal.
I don't,
right.
I mean, ultimately, that other one's gotta go in when you do the next phase.
Right, exactly.
So why don't we look at giving him a temporary CO for 8 units that he has now? He's gonna finish the parking lot, that'll be one of the conditions. And then anything else, Joe, that comes?
The 8 units, the drainage and the parking lot,
Okay.
everything else is building code and
Right.
it's close.
So if we give him a temporary for 8 units, is that good so you can move on with your project so we can get to the next phase?
Yeah, That's fine, and I say that with one caveat, with the assumption that it's not gonna be difficult for us to get a plan of action for the drainage. Like I said, I think there's been a meeting of the minds with the engineers, but again, things have changed so much so quickly. I just put that caveat on it. Based upon everything that I know today, it's easy peasy.
When I spoke to the guy about the drainage, it's not an expensive undertaking. At least that's
No.
what I was told.
No.
This is not a big project here. This is pretty much so you're saying that part of it, once GIMO approves it, gives you an actual written approval, that you'll get that complete this year in the winter time?
I can literally do the work in one day.
Okay, so that's what I'm looking to hear. So if you're gonna get the drainage, you're gonna get the parking lot in, you're gonna get the approval for the 8 units, and then you can move on at least to the second phase and then come back when those are complete. And then we'll see that the other stuff is complete and the board will be happy also. I mean, is that fair enough? Or?
Yeah, that's fair enough. And
Well, I think you should get the parking lot and the drainage done by I don't know, December 1st, good? I mean,
yeah, because after December 1st, you.
is that good with you, Joe?
Well, I guess, how long does he need for the temporary? Is
Well, I think the
question.
temporary is gonna go on until he finishes the project with the old stormwater, correct? Or no?
Right. Well, yeah, I would request that the temporary, be in place until we get things wrapped up.
I mean, you're still building, right? You haven't stopped the project.
No, we're building.
So I think we have to say something like, as he's building, how much, once he stops, then it's different, but if he keeps building, because what happened was last time, remember with the building permit, Joe, it expired because he was building throughout and it just took him longer than it was.
Right, but you can't leave a temporary CO in place indefinitely. He's gotta get a full CO. So I need to know how long the temporary can remain as a temporary.
But what would you think would be a good, from your experience, what would be a good,
Well, if he's saying the drainage could be done in a day,
right?
and the parking lot's gonna be done after October, and we're only talking about the 8 units?
Right.
You tell me, Steve.
Well, I think if we kept it in place till June 1st, for just the 8 units,
June 1st of next year?
yeah, for just the, to create a deadline, to create a backstop on the back end.
Why so long?
Yeah, that seems long.
Well,
Well, if you do the drainage and parking lot, you can go for the CO.
Yeah, what's that, yeah.
no. That's my drivers. I want to get my permanent CO on my apartments, on the condos, on everything.
Well, you should have it this year with the parking lot and the drainage.
I mean, you're
There's
front
nothing
of
else
the
that you
board
have
for
to
the
do.
amendment, the final.
Yeah, I think you should be good. What do you think, like, maybe even the end of January, what do you think, like, end of January, Joe?
Yeah, but by the same token, I don't want him back again asking for another temporary CO or an extension either.
I think we almost gotta do that, because now it's the PDU overlay, right? I mean, doesn't it?
One of the 6 units scheduled to be done, Steve.
Probably January 15th.
So
Yeah.
wouldn't you want to group those in the temporary
Oh,
COs as a plan?
I'm more motivated than anybody in this room. I mean, believe me, there's no motivation needed for Steve Buck to get his drainage issue buttoned up, because I need to occupy the other 6 units. Okay, but again, to just,
No issues.
So how about January 31st for temporary COs? Anybody got, what do you guys think? I mean, January 31st, and if you get your other one done at the 15th and you come back here, right? I mean, then you could get a seal for everything when you're done. Right?
well, like I said, I just want to know what I have to build, because what I have to build isn't going to take me a long time. It's just getting,
I think the parking lot and the drainage, and you're fine with the condos, I mean, and then the other project, well, I mean, you're still in framing, so I mean, you gotta get it ready for codes to get approved.
yes, all right, so, if we could do the end of February, I just like a little bit of backstop on the back end. would be better. Because like I said, I need to get my permit CO for my bank, okay, because they're holding money back until I have my permit CO. So, like I said, we're motivated, and I just gotta get through the engineers so that I can do what I do.
And I don't want to keep this going, but Joe, will you be looking at the flow rate that GIMO is going to present? It's not your bailiwick.
Not at all.
Right, okay.
The guy was going to approve the fix.
Right, and as I understand it, both engineers did not agree initially.
No.
So now there is an agreement.
My understanding is there's been a meeting of the minds.
Okay.
Brian Madigan asked Al to put it in writing on a drawing and stamp it and submit it, and that's what Al's
Okay.
working on right now.
Joe, when you issue a temporary CO, it's going to say temporary certificate of occupancy so that the people that are occupying the property are going to know, because don't they post it in, I just don't want to get into a liability issue where somebody moves in, oh, I didn't know it was a temporary
It's the
CO.
only thing they're getting from me, Herb, is a temporary.
And you're going to make them adhere to all other criterion in our code as far as the construction, correct?
The construction and the site plan. So I'm expecting the site plan work.
I just don't want a liability issue, that's all.
Steve, no problem completing the site.
No, we're scheduled to pave the first window of opportunity after October 12th. So, we just need a 4-day sun window.
And plantings?
Well, we're gonna be stabilizing all the topsoil, within 4 or 5 weeks.
From now,
From now.
5 weeks, you're going to have.
Steve, would it be too hard to ask if the residents of the condos, if you'd have them sign a disclosure saying that they understand it's a temporary CO?
I'd rather not, but.
Well, I'm just saying, because then at least everybody's on the same page, right? Just like a real estate, you have a property disclosure, and people know what they're getting into.
Well, isn't the CO posted? And doesn't it say temporary?
No, we don't post the CO, we
Joe,
just.
they're supposed to be posted
Yeah.
on the property. And they're all, they're supposed to be,
I just thought typically we don't post it. If we need to post it, we'll post it. But, I mean, this whole discussion is revolving around $2,500 worth of work that needs to be done to the drainage channel. And I just want to keep it in context.
okay.
All right, so drainage work will be complete, parking lot will be complete. You get your temporary CO on 8 units, just for understanding, and then you have it till February 28th, your temporary CO. Is that,
That's fair.
is that fair? And then you have to come back here for the final, and then we'll evaluate everything, including we'll have the engineer here that night. Let's bring both engineers, so there's no misconceptions when the final meeting comes. And then let's make sure that everybody's on the same page, and then we can approve everything at that time. Is that a fair? So we
Yeah,
a motion.
And the funny but not so funny part about this is that the work that Rick did was actually perfect, except for the fact that if the pipe wasn't, not as much pipe was put in and it was back further, it had been working absolutely perfectly, So, but because the existing pipes were to that point, I think is that why you brought the pipes up to there? Is because that's where the existing.
Everything, when we got done, everything worked perfectly, correct, Chris?
Yeah, we essentially just upsized. There was two 15-inch pipes side by side, and we upsized to 18.
Those two 15-inch pipes are full of shit, railroad ties. That's what caused the problem with 12 feet.
Oh, and I know right where they came from because I had to clean out that drainage ditch, which was on the uphill side of the railroad tracks, and that's been cleaned out, so.
Yeah, that was full of debris.
Yeah, I mean, there was literally a smashed farmhouse that was just buried in that.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank
You
you.
make a motion?
So I'll make a motion for 8 units of the condo project to get a temporary CO, which includes completion of the parking lot and drainage, and get approved by GYMO, and that we give him a temporary CO to February 28th. Motion by Rich,
Second.
second by Dave. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Thank you. All right. Anyone else would like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
I was here back in July of 18 at the detention pond on K Circle. They did fix it in August.
Yeah,
It was
right.
about 25 feet that they were on the property. Problem is, you came up,
Yep.
saw how horrible it was. You agreed to that.
Yeah, it did.
You did. You even came up with putting rubber stuff. So it looks good now.
Okay.
The problem is, it's an eyesore once the weeds and everything start. Originally, there was trees that John Spinella took out. He can't replace them because they're gone. All I'm asking for is 10 burning bush to block the site. I got an estimate, I think it was $36 per bush from George's greenhouse. I got another one, it was $65 from Michael's. We didn't ask for this to be done. I told, this is when Rick was having all those issues with Pat Kaczynski. They were butting heads left and right, everybody was involved.
Excuse me, just a quick question. How much was the total for the estimate?
$436.
400. I mean, does anybody have an issue with it? Because I don't. I think it'll be a good idea.
Yeah, and that's to restore it to the condition it was in
Exactly.
prior to the.
Right.
So, does anybody?
She can order them, she can get them, I just have to
Okay.
have you guys come in, and I think it was Junior, is that his name? He said an auger could come in. I think right now, since you just put it in and the grass is up, I don't know if the auger's gonna ruin what you put in. You tell me. I don't wanna go through, like, I talked to her
Yeah.
from July
Several
to
times.
February. You know, it was 7, you called me back instantly, it was great. But it took 7 months just to do that. I just want to know from you guys when it's gonna be done, because it's been 4.5 years.
There will be no auger with you in my hand. Augers, whatever the auger is on the skid steer is gonna make ruts, it's gonna strike what we already did. So we'll take it by hand. And tell me what account the bushes come out of? I don't have a bush account. Tell me what.
Well, it's a whole town fund, right? So, take-
Yeah.
I have money in parks for that sort of stuff. You can use $400. You know, you put them in.
So make a motion to purchase a burning bushes.
Yes, burning
Burning
bushes.
bushes, yeah. George's, they were the cheapest, George's and Kirkland.
And restore it back to the condition it was once before we had the engineer going.
Good? Okay. All right, motion by Jim, second by Rich. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, next thing, when can you expect it? That's the thing, it's been 4.5 years.
That,
You got the plans there.
I can call the owners.
Call the owners, if they have the plans,
Mhm.
give me a call, let me know.
Mhm.
I'll send, I have a couple guys, I'll send them there, pick them up,
Okay,
and come install.
okay.
can they just deliver them or no? Do they deliver them for the farm?
Let's get them delivered.
Yeah, can they just get them delivered?
Get them delivered to my house and I'll
Yeah,
call
let's
you
do
when they're
that.
there
Yeah,
and we'll
yeah.
get it done. All
Yeah, I
right,
think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Save them.
all right, thank you,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Have a nice
Bert,
night.
thank you.
Yeah.
Bring your name, he's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, sir. All right, anyone else would like to discuss else, any matters?
Well, I've been here before, and I'm Christopher Circle, and she's back again. I'm just wondering if there's any update on the excessive water I'm having come across Higby into my side yard. Has anything, between New Hartford and the county, anything
The
has,
road has been marked, where we're going to be digging the ditches,
okay,
it's been UFPO'd.
something has started.
Well, that part has started, getting the machine there, probably, I'd say, a week or two, to dig the ditches, because we're still digging ditches for a pavement,
Okay.
procedure, pavement jobs.
And we see where we go from there as far as water.
Get that part done, we'll see what that does.
Because I probably would be back then. Nice seeing all you gentlemen. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Anyone else like to discuss any matters? No? Okay. Moving on to Public Works and Sewer Committee. Rick has to fill a mechanic position, somebody left. And Rick, do you have the right on that?
I do.
Okay. No, go ahead.
Mechanics job, our mechanic left to work for National Grid. So I have a person who has qualifications within the highway department. So we'll move him up to a mechanic's position, fill that. And obviously money's in the budget, because we've got left. And also I want to replace the mechanics, or the new guy who's going to the mechanic spot with a labor position.
Who do you have for me for a mechanic?
Mechanic is, Jeremy Waterman,
Okay. What's his wage?
$25.08 per hour.
You do
Full-time?
them separately, Paul.
I know. Full-time?
Yes.
I have a motion approved. Motion by Rich, second by Jim. Discussion, all in favor? Aye. Okay.
Labor,
One quick question.
Yep.
Was that the mechanic, because you hired recently a mechanic that was really good.
no,
Is he still there, or is that the one that?
that's the one that left. And you can't win if you go to National Grid.
I know you really like, his
Yeah.
resume from the past, so
Yeah.
I was just curious.
And the labor position is $11.75 an hour. Without
Okay.
he doesn't have a CDL yet. He has
Okay.
a few months to get that. And it's day and career,
Full-time?
full-time.
Motion approved. Motion by Rich, second by Jim. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. All right, we had the rebid on the roof. Well, it's not a repair, it's actually a new roof for the building. Rick, you want to discuss that?
We went out to rebid, and we have 4 bids that came back. We opened them up on at 11 a.m. on the 17th, last week, this Tuesday. Bidder number 1 was Titan Roofing out of Springfield, Mass. For a lump sum of $494,600. With a deduct alternate number 1, which was $5,000. Bidder number 2 was Apple Roofing Corporation out of Syracuse, New York. Their lump sum bid was $375,580. With a deduct alternate number 1 of $3,000. Number 3 was EV Roofing and Construction Services out of Westmoreland, New York. And their lump sum price was $404,000. The deduct alternate number 1 of $6,900. Number 4 was J&B Installations, Skinny Atlas Falls, New York. And their lump sum bill price was $430,000. The deduct alternate number 1 of $5,000. So the whole bid was Apple Roofing out of Syracuse, New York. For $375,580.
Do you check any references on
I'm in the process of doing it right now. Yep, we just got these just the other day, yes.
Doable before when?
Doable before winter, he told me that they'll be here within 3.5 to 4 weeks.
What kind of a guarantee?
Full guarantee for whatever.
And the bid package was 20 years.
20 years.
20 years guarantee on it. And they're a huge outfit. he's just taking us on for in between work, to be honest. That's why that's so low.
This is a lot lower than we would. This-
Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm saying, that's an amazing price, so. But they're a huge outfit, I mean, right, Rick, who's both of them, I did it.
Yeah.
So,
It's one of those things that unfortunately has to be done because of the equipment and what the investment we put into the building.
yeah, no, I mean, we're good now, but how long is it, if we don't do it now, maybe 3 years we can have it, but if we do it now, it's 20 years, so. I mean, your units are new up there, I mean, everything will be brand new. I don't know, no more issues.
I think it's cheaper.
No, it's only the coat, right, exactly. It's like everything else we found, every time we wait, it goes up to 100 grand. So, motion by Dave,
Second.
second by Rich, discussion, all in favor? Aye. Okay, thanks, Rick. Okay. All right, the assessor's term expires 9/30/2019, Darlene Aveda-Colon. If I can have a motion to reapprove her term.
So moved.
Motion by Rich, second by Rich, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Raffle consent, kids are night in. We have a motion to approve. Motion by Dave, second by Rich, discussion, all in favor? Aye. Okay, got a couple things quick. They had on a part-time seasonal help to finish up the lawns. His name is Tyler J. Maine, M-A-I-N-E, $11.25 an hour, no benefits, part-time. If I can have a motion to approve in the budget.
What's he gonna be doing?
He's doing lawns right now, because all the kids went back to college. So, and then he might actually work in the rec center, because we had one retiree, so. He
No
might just
benefits, part-time.
No benefits, part-time, nights and weekends he's doing, which everybody wants in the parks, because they don't want to work nights and weekends. All right, motion by Dave,
Second.
second by Jim, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we've done a lot of research with the solar. We've been confronted for solar farms for the actual town itself. Up on 12, we cleared the lot up there next to the park. That used to be an old dump site, I guess. People used to throw trees and branches, right? Is that what it was? That's one of the locations that would be nice for a solar farm. It's got power to the street. There's 3 phase there. It makes sense for a company to come in and do it and rent. It's pretty much like the cell tower that hopefully will be completed soon. Again, we get a monthly check. It even would help us with our own utility bills. And again, it'd be revenue for the park system that would, be constant. They're usually 20-year leases. So before doing that, though, or even talking to anyone about that, our zoning prohibits it, as you guys know. So there's one location. Another one would be behind the highway garage. Was another location, and also Middle Settlement Road, as you know, we have property up there too. Those 3 locations, we would have to rezone those certain areas for solar farms, solar arrays, and then we can move forward, trying to get companies to come in to do it. So in doing that, Herb's put together bunch of information, including myself and others, and some stuff that Dave from years past has provided. And maybe Herb can speak more in depth on it.
Yeah, we're going to need to amend our current zoning ordinance to permit what we call large-scale solar operations. And the funny thing is, the large scale is defined as anything that's not a small scale. So that's a brilliant definition. We have a draft amendment to the ordinance that Paul and I have been working on. I can probably have it finalized very shortly. I also want to verify that we can do it in the park. I know we were able to do the cell tower in the park, and I want to just double check and make sure we do follow the legal process for that, as we did with the cell tower. But I can get it to you. We're going to limit the large scale to those 3 sites that we're talking about.
And also to confirm, when I say park, it's not in the recreation area of the park. It was an old dump site that we used to have for trees.
It's considerably north of the park.
Correct.
Yes.
And currently that is buffered. You don't even see that.
No,
No.
no.
How much area, I've never been that. It's conducive to a solar farm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's an area, and would it, and I don't want to get ahead of us, but what visual impact does it have? It would remain basically buffered.
Yeah.
Buffer.
All there is a driveway in there.
Right, I know.
Right. Because the revisions to the ordinance require the buffering and landscaping so that it is not visible to any neighbors.
Right, currently that buffering is pretty, it only addresses small scale.
Right. And the important thing too is, when you're redoing, you should also look at the town's comprehensive plan, which I have to look at, to ensure that we're not doing something that's in violation of the comprehensive plan. So we may need to revise both simultaneously.
And the, behind the highway garage, on this side of the creek, or the other
The other
side?
side of the creek.
Where you dump currently, where the brush is?
So we used to come to brush.
Yes, right, okay.
Actually, all three sites were previous dump sites for brush.
Middle Settlement Road, we're on Middle Settlement.
So it would be where we're looking to put our retention pond, go up further from the retention pond. That's where it'd be on the town land. So again, it's town land.
That has a little more visual impact, I think, than the other.
It does, but again, it's a business, it's not a residential community. So,
I don't know exactly where you're talking, but you've got the housing development.
Well, that's buffered.
Behind Press Creek.
right, so that's buffered, but the front from Middle Settlement's not buffered.
Okay, let's not,
Right, but I'm just saying, so those locations, again, there was a doctor, I think, a dentist, remember you?
yes, he has it.
Okay.
He's got one.
So he's on Middle Settlement. and
Right,
then
but it's much smaller and it's buffered by the fact that it's 1,000 feet off the road.
Right.
No one's there.
Right.
Unless you're going looking for it.
Right.
Okay.
Otherwise, you've seen the one by the county airport.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
think
yeah,
we're
no.
talking about something right next
No.
to
Yeah,
it.
that's not.
Like
that's
that
not-
is, because they
that's
didn't
not
buffer
good.
that at all.
No, that's not good. I mean, the concept is right.
Yeah.
Location and, Okay.
And it's still go through the planning board
Yes,
for,
understood, okay.
so the planning board could say, no, this isn't where we want it. But at least it opens up an opportunity for the town to,
Right.
try to get these, get these grants and get this money for,
Yes.
Joe?
Paul, I don't know if you're interested, but I already have a solar draft for large scale.
Oh, beautiful, yeah, definitely interested.
And
What
another
about
question,
batteries?
are you interested in putting it on roofs? And if so, before you do
No,
that?
I think this really was for the large scale, and again,
Ground mounted.
for the town at this point, to see how things go. And if it's successful, then maybe we can open it up, again, if you put it on Middle Settlement Road, there's other neighbors that can get this. But if we just pick some locations, I think we can see how it goes and how the transition is, and I don't think it'd be much impact, because again, where we're talking, there's really no impact. They're hidden or behind things, or, again, they're pretty much all dump sites at one point, so.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
I have two questions.
Yeah.
One, for fire and police, if God forbid something happens to these areas, and then if there's batteries, there's no batteries? Okay, then you don't have to worry about it.
Well, they have to meet code and,
Right, but some of them have batteries, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah. No, and they have to be grounded properly and everything, so.
these wouldn't have a battery.
We've had quite a bit of interest, people coming in.
Yeah,
asking
yeah,
questions
we-
about
Joe and I
the-
went through this, trying to get the small system
Yeah.
enlarged.
A lot of calls for our office about
Yep.
large scale farm.
Very
And you want to
popular.
be able to sell it back to the
Yeah, the state is encouraging it
Exactly.
as
Gov-
alternative
Yeah, the
sources.
government-
And it would be subject to a public hearing, by the way, also, because it's a zoning change.
Right.
But I think it's a step in the right direction. Again, it's something we could try and look at. Again, I didn't want to go all over town with it, but let's see how it works maybe for us first, and then we can implement it as we go, so again, just something to look at. Any other questions? Nothing? Okay. Playground, the deck broke, and it was a safety hazard up at the park. It's a sole provider, or sole source. It's Miracle, and the total for freight and everything is $3,337. At $33,37.44 to repair that. So if I can have a motion to purchase that. The deck on the playground slide up at Sherrillbrook was completely cracked and broken, so some kid can get their arm caught in there or
Is
whatever.
that a new piece?
No, this was from the old slide set that we had. We didn't upgrade the main slide set that was there. What we did was we fixed all the pieces that were broken at the time, and this one just came up broken, so. Huh? Well, that's what I'm saying, yeah, I just need a motion to approve it. Okay, motion by Rich. Second by Rich, discussion.
Do we have that roped off or something, so?
Yes, it's totally off already. Yeah. No, it's safe. Discussion, all in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. Okay, hot water tank, rec center. So, Donna, we're doing work down there, and Dave knows about it. He says there's always been an issue with hot water. The hot water tank that was there, I guess, was installed in 2017, but whoever installed it never put a flapper on the exhaust. So what happened was last year is the cold air got in there and froze the tubes in there and cracked them up. So last year they put it in for insurance claim. I think you guys seen the email. They only gave us $5,000. The unit itself is like $6,800 plus installation, and then we have a $2,500 deductible. So, one or two things. We can just fix the heat exchanger, which you can buy down at Utica Valley. They got them in stock for $1,780. We install it ourselves. Or we buy a new unit, which is about $6,800. If we go outside to install it, they want like $3,500 for it to install it, or we can do it in-house. So, I mean, it's up to you guys, however you wanna.
So is the exchange the only thing wrong with it? I mean, I hate.
Yeah, no, that's the only thing. It blew all the fins out, and the elbows are all cracked from the copper.
So, you know what I'm saying? I want to spend $1,700.
No, I agree.
Something else, then you're like.
I agree. I agree. The problem that we have is every time we hire somebody to put something in, nobody ever warranties it, and then we're nowhere ahead. So, I mean, that's the only problem that we have. So, again, it was put in 17, and we called the company and everything, and they wouldn't warranty it because, again, there wasn't a flapper on the exhaust on there. So it's $1,780 for the part.
Yeah.
And they got them in stock that we can get it done. Or we have to buy the unit, which is $68.75, and then it's brand new. The only problem with that, it takes 3 weeks to get it, so we have to order it pretty soon.
This affects the chiller, doesn't it?
Correct. Well, with hot water, you can't make ice.
And we got insurance 5,000 back?
No, we got minus $2,500 deductible.
So covers the cost of that.
I mean, it would come out of rec center contractual.
If we don't fix it, we don't have ice.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, yeah, no, we need to fix it, but I'm just saying, do you want us to get a professional to install this, or do you want to install it in-house? Or do you want to buy a new unit, or do you want to just buy the piece that's destroyed?
Let's do the pieces destroyed and have them installed.
Cool.
Our plumber, heating contractor, somebody that's warranty to work.
Well, we don't have one. Do you want us to just put it in-house and do it?
You would guarantee it?
Guarantee the part works.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so I'll put that in. All right, so I'll get that for Utica Valley, and we'll install that. Because I don't think you really have a time to order a new one right now. So, okay. Second thing. So
Motion on that?
Oh, that's right, yeah, sorry. You have a motion to approve. All right, motion by Rich, second by Dave. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so I'll get that done this week. Second thing is the,
What's broke now?
well, here we go again. We put a dehumidifier in, you know, probably 7 years ago, and the ducting was never done correctly. And come to find out, it hasn't worked right since we've got it. So we're manually turning it on and off, turning it on and off. It only runs the front part of the rec center. So now with this new efficient equipment, we're gonna have nothing but problems with it because it's just gonna constantly shut down. Because it's gonna be calling for, you know, for the thing to work, and it's not gonna be dehumidifying on pretty much from the middle of the rink all the way to the other side. And Chris, maybe you can chime in on this, but
Yeah, the current dehumidifier only really services the front of the building, the lobby end of the building. If you look at how it's set up, I know they proposed with a new one running ductwork throughout the rink, so it dehumidifies the whole rink and not just the front portion near the lobby. It essentially removes the moisture from the air. If you go in there and you see the glass all fogged up, it's not supposed to look like that. That means there's too much moisture in the air. And I do know they had trouble with the current one where it doesn't kick on automatically and the breaker kicks on it. And I don't know what's the matter with the current one, but I do know they have trouble with it.
well, they have a hockey stick connected to the switch. They can turn it on and off. And
Right.
everything. So because there's no way for it to stay on constantly. So again, it's everything was a mess down there. So
Let's fix it.
I mean, that was
you don't even want to know how much. So again, another thing that, if we put one in, it's going to last 20, 30 years, but if we keep the one that we have, it's going to be completely not only inefficient, but it's a hassle because it keeps
When it
shutting.
operates, it's just doing the lobby area.
It's in the rink itself, but if you look at the way it's set up, it's only
Drawing
distributing or drawing air right there by the front. The ductwork does not extend anywhere else into the rink. I don't know why it was set up that way, but
Okay, and when it's operating, we don't have a condensate problem.
it's not operating efficiently. I mean, more than not, there is condensation problems in there. I think even when it's under operation, it's still not operating effectively.
How does it manifest? You said the glass is steamed up.
Yeah.
That's happening?
Yeah, I mean, more than not, if you go in there and you notice that the glass is fogged or there's moisture on the glass, it's not supposed to be like that.
They said it's running at 20%, so there you go, out of 100, it's running at 20%, if you want the technical term used.
Right.
Could there be a potential health issue too with all that moisture?
Well, I mean, it creates mold. I mean, again, the bathrooms are more mold and mildewish. But it doesn't help anything. And again, it's just an inefficient system that was never put in properly.
And how are we going to pay for the fix?
I mean, the only thing to do to pay for the fixes is, again, if you went out to ban for it and you paid it over the time of the useful life of the machine. Well, with the ducting and the machine, you're looking at almost a $300,000 bill. But again, you're paying prevailing rates. Again, it's a specialty item, and that's an actual engineered plan, so it's done correctly this time. Because this was put in, like you said, 7 years ago, right? It was about.
So I don't really know the specifics on
Yeah,
that part of
they
it,
said
but I know
it's-
they've had trouble with it right along. I don't know why, I don't know who installed it, what the specifics were, but currently it doesn't operate efficiently, and having a brand new ice chiller, I think that's gonna make that somewhat ineffective too. And just talking to the engineers at the meetings there. I think it was proposed to move it outside too, to make
Yeah,
it
put
more
it on the
efficient.
roof over the Zamboni. I mean, there's just, another issue again of the project. So, listen, when you let things go for 30 years, that's what happens. I mean, you know, it's just not doing right.
Is there any way of getting ductwork cheaper or something, anywhere?
It is just a ductwork issue, and I understand that can be expensive too, if installed.
Yeah, it's very expensive. Because it's got to be special ductwork and everything, because it's a rink, and it's again, a dehumidifier, it's prevailing wage. You know, you're not paying somebody $20 an hour, you're paying them $87.50 an hour. You know, so, again, it's just like the chiller situation. It's you know.
I wonder if we, that's a lot of money. And
No, I understand that.
I wonder if we put the chiller, get the chiller up and operating, and see what the condensate is like with the new chiller.
Well, he said it'll run at 20%. So you know, it's not going to run efficiently. It'll turn on, it'll turn off. It will not work right with the machine for the proper air. So that's why when you go in there, you know how it's always like musty, like, you know what I mean? You breathe in. Yeah. So that's why, because that never worked right. So that's what you get. It's going to work like it's working right now, not working. I mean, you can. So again, we're doing the project. We want to do it right. These guys want to do it right too, because they want to finish it so everything works properly. I mean, Chris is at the meetings. And Rick's at the meetings. You know, it's the same thing like the hot water. It's the same thing like the hot water tank. I mean, you said it. We don't even have hot water in the bathrooms. I mean, it's again, we just never done it right. So. I mean, the first thing to do is get an engineer's plan and then bid it out and see what the true numbers come in. Those are the numbers that I got from the guys who put them in all the time. So that's where you look at by the time you're done. Because again, you got to cut through the brick and you know, it's all got to be supported above the hockey rink.
So it is going to hurt you for figures.
That's right.
Yeah, so.
Can we discuss where the money's gonna come from?
If we do. Whatever.
Yeah.
Alright, so you would need a motion to go to bid?
Well, no, first I got to get an engineering plan.
We need to.
So, do you want for the plan, how do you want to pay for the plan? Because I don't have that much left for recreational contractual account. So I mean, is this something you want to wait till the beginning of the year and do it? Or do you want to do the project as a whole and wait until we talk about the rest of the stuff we got to talk about tonight?
Yeah, I think we have to wait till the first of the year.
Okay. All right, so I just wanted to bring that up. Hot water tank we did. Okay. I got some budget stuff to talk about and also too, some other things, but I think Jim, you wanted to speak about project for paving.
Yeah, so I just want to, address the board and yourself. We all know United Street's been, pretty bad shape over the years. And I just want to preface too, I don't want to think that I'm just advocating for roads in the first ward, but this is a, heavily traveled road to and from, town Paris, Utica. And so I talked to Rick and just kind of come up with some ideas. So I thought maybe since a 3.1 mile road to do 1 mile section at a time. So, and I was thinking initially coming out of the paving budget. I know that's not going to be able to have us do as many roads, but at least we're accomplishing probably 2 different areas, some other small roads and then a section at a time on 9th Street was the thought process. And I think I did reach out to some of them in Brian Miller, see if there's anything available from the state. They said that none of the funds or anything was released yet, so let me know. I don't know, Rick, you've done some work.
I put this whole project into the Hawks program about a year ago. I put it for 3.1 miles. It's about $1.3 million, $1.4 million. I'd like to get a phone call to see where the project is on the Hawks program. if it comes out of Hawks, it's just that I do the whole thing.
Right.
Got a contractor come in and do all 3.1 miles.
So that program.
But again, I wanna see, I haven't heard anything from them since I applied. See what if it's in the room of getting it in there. If not, then, but I'm looking at probably between 2 and 4, over 25,000.
Per mile.
Almost as much as the Stokesville project just cost us. That road was an old state highway. If you go down on that street, you hear every 100 feet, the pump, those are seams, joints. Once I mill that blacktop off, I'm almost positive they only have, just like I did on the thruway, we mill it off and get those joints. There's problems in those joints, where you gotta fix those joints. So that's what brings the price up a little bit. If you don't fix it and just mill it, put 2 inches over it, it's going, 3 or 4 years later, it's going to come right back. You know, you have the joints pounding and, so the correct way to do it is to fix the joints as you do it. There's a couple of drainage pipes that go across the 9th Street after Chavez that need to be replaced. I would think that, you know, we start right to the town line, the town Hartford Paris line, and bring it down, you can bring us probably down around Red Hill Road, somewhere around there, be the first mile that we get done, if you did do it. Sure. But taking a paving budget, it's not going to leave us much left to do anything else. You know, it will leave us 100,000. We'll give you 50. Right. So.
I know, that's the drawback to it, but. Basically, some input from you guys, see what your thoughts are. But-
Well, something that strikes me is Chapman Road was done. If there's some way to do Oneida Street, and then I'd like to see Kellogg Road, I know that's been on the plans for a long time, to do the widening or whatever. Kellogg Road with sidewalks connecting.
Yeah,
the
Kellogg Road
existing-
is on the agenda after next year, Middle Southern Road out front here gets done.
Okay.
From the light.
So that would be a big swatch, a corridor that would be totally upgraded.
That is on the schedule.
The last I knew it was being put into the schedule. That's a part of the county's working on Hartford was done.
If you put that down on 9th Street, what's your useful life?
We do the joints and do it right.
10, 15 years?
It should be 15, 18 years.
Okay.
It hasn't been touched. I've been here 11, and it hasn't been touched long before that.
Right.
And that's why it's in the condition it's in. You can do a road, any road in Hartford, you do a road, but you have preventive maintenance. Just like I'm out here looking at the dogs, some different, in Ironwood, those need maintenance. And then some of that money next year's budget is going to go to maintenance, because we don't have a paving budget and a maintenance budget. We just don't have it.
So again, looking at a big project like that, if we get 15 years out of it, that's something maybe, you know, again, we might not want to do all in 1 year. It's something that maybe we want to, you know, if we bond for it, you know, for 15 years, and it gets 15 years of use, then the future residents in the future are paying for it instead of just paying all now and then, you know, leaving it for, you know, for everybody to pay for it right now and then cutting short the rest of the town on our paving budget. You know, so I mean, again, just like we did Grange and we did, you know, Snowy Hill Road, those were big projects. We couldn't do it on regular paving. So I mean, you know, again, not that I'm a fan of to bond for it, but again, it is infrastructure and the rate is very low. It might make sense to do something like that with a project. And again, push it over time. We'll get the whole road done all at once and make it, you know, the quality of the standards. So, but I don't think in a year paving budget for 350, especially I know there's some roads you have to do next year. I mean, they don't even have pavement on them at this point, and you know, with $100 grand left, we're going to be in the world of hurt, you know. So again, it's infrastructure. It's a long-term, you know.
So you're going to check on the possibility of the grant?
Yeah, let's see. They moved right along with the bridge on, in Main Street there in New York Mills. That was put on that project list. And, that's it for, it's been in design stage right now, but that's it for, next year's contract for construction, 2020. That came out of that program. So again, I'll make a phone call and see if it's even on the list, if it's made the list, or whatever. That was also working with connection with Utica. They wanted to do from Oneida Square to the town line on Oneida Street. So that from Oneida Square all the way to Paris.
Bottom line, you gotta do something with the road anyway. You just can't just say it's not gonna get done.
Just the condition it's in.
I agree. It's right.
We pretty much have gotten our main large roads out of like the country roads that are mile 23, mile 4. We got a little work that we're doing next week on Mallory between Mohawk and Sessions. That's a very bad stretch of road, and we got some money left over that we're going to get that done. But all our main big roads, Snowden Hill Road, Grange Hill, Tilden, those are the more expensive roads that we've done. So we really got half an hour, but other than that, we got to get back to where I thought. A nice street right there with the long way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's always been, it's,
Maybe we can even finish Mallory too if we go out at the same time as Oneida. It would be nice to get Mallory done, because that's really sort of.
yeah, that's right. I'm open for, whatever, I mean, again, trying to find grants or if we had to, like the supervisor said, trying not to bond the band, but you know what? I don't want to suck up all your budget either, and one road, and I wasn't trying to do that, that's why I was trying to come up with some idea, and you and I talked about it. But at some point,
If we're going to do it that way, that's the way to do it, is break it down.
Oh, yeah.
1 mile at a time. Or get the grant to do it all 3. Do it half a mile, half a mile, half a mile, half a mile.
No.
And it's something that I looked at, and I talked to Chris about it. It's something that, it's a larger project to take on a 9th Street, but it's money that we save by doing it in-house ourselves. We have experience. I'm not afraid to tackle a 9th Street with the drums at all. That was my career. So we're talking to Chris, I think it'd be a good project for us to do in-house.
You mentioned too, possibly finding, grants for sidewalks on that road too, because of, and I know we did some repair with the FEMA ones, but I mean, the other side, and, pretty rough shape. So, I'm looking at that as, that part of town that can maybe be revitalized a little bit with roads, maybe if we can find something, grants for sidewalk too, or something like that.
There's some grants out there for sidewalks and for all, some street lighting.
Yeah.
Maybe down to that quarter a little ways, to the middle part of downtown Jackson. There's grant money out there for that kind of stuff.
It's just like anytime anybody in there starts doing something in the house, it kind of gets contagious, and everybody starts doing things, and then you start bringing that part of town back. It's a thought process.
I think it'd be great. It'd be nice, especially the sidewalks, put curbs in, clean up a lot of drainage issues.
Yeah. Curbs, great.
We'd be downtown almost down there and check, it really, it would spruce the whole area up. Put some real nice lights in.
Nice, good. Signage coming into Chadwick's.
It's great.
Just other things that just came up, did you guys meet with the lady that was here last meeting with Ben Hughes?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's good.
Is this going to be a casting schedule, or do you have to, or a schedule?
We got a schedule.
Okay. Let me know. And then, do you know Dan Crusoe, that did the trailer over on Urban, you're gonna,
Yes.
it was kind of rough afterwards.
Yeah, I didn't follow up. I did, but I didn't follow up. I didn't follow up right away. Because I was going to call him for something else, but I will follow up. I'll call him in the morning.
That's all I have.
Anybody else?
Is there any update on those LED conversions for the street lights?
So, the guy changed, I guess, he got a new job, so then now there's a new person involved in it. And Rick's working with him.
Working with him back and forth with emails, set up a meeting. He gets back on board, he gets back to the party.
They were supposed to have started now.
Yeah, but the guy quit, and they had nobody else in that department of the state power authority to do it, so we kind of just waiting.
I think Garfield got this converted, didn't he? Somebody, my neighbor told me that Garfield got converted. Got converted to the LEDs.
I haven't heard.
No?
Rick, do you want to see me if we can set a meeting?
Yeah,
Bring Rich next week, if possible?
I got an email to him this morning. Let's wait for a response back.
The mayor got a letter from them, he talked to them on Monday, and they sent him a letter saying that, regarding the funding, they were ready to go, so apparently the new guys must be finishing up with what was not done by the other.
Dave, anything? Rich? Nothing. Okay, just some budget information. Pretty much we've compiled the budget. We just wait for the county to give me the numbers on the assessments and stuff. But looking through here, I think we'll have a good budget. Issues that I see today and in the future, though, is our health care. Rich, you weren't here on the board when I was councilman, but the last administration picked a different health care provider. Well, it was a good introductory rate at that point. Last year, as you know, it went up 60,000 just on police. This year, it's going up 60,000 again just on police. Next year, I talked to Bill Gall. He says it's going to go up another 12% next year. This year was only 10%. MVP is another provider. They mirror the same benefits. I know we're in union contracts, so that's a hard thing to change. There's again a better rate for MVP. We'll save about 15,000 this year. I mean, it's 15,000. It's still not as much as 60, but I think we should have to look for some new providers and see where we're at, because if it keeps going up, anywhere from 9 to 12% a year, we're going to supersede our tax cap in the future, and there's no way. I mean, just in healthcare alone. So. We're fine this year, we're going to be fine next year and the following year, but going into the future, again, it's going up higher than our tax cap alone, just with that alone, just with healthcare. So I wanted to bring that to your attention, because that was a huge impact in the police department for the budget. It was $63,000 increase. Just in police healthcare, not.
Could it be prudent to go out now for RFPs?
Well, I think so, because it's drastic. I mean, let's look at it this way. When we got the introductory rate, it was $616. Last year it went to $691. This year coming is $754. Next year it's going to go to $862.
So let's go out for RFPs and put these guys on notice. We'll look.
Okay.
Is that standard, though? We should, I mean, our company looks at healthcare every year.
The healthcare part, I honestly don't know. I don't know healthcare with regular insurance like I can tell you, but healthcare I don't know. I don't know how it's rated or how they actually.
It seems like that's always goes up after the year. I mean, you have to negotiate.
Yeah, but that's drastic. Because don't forget, we got a 2% tax cap rate, which 1% is worth what, about $17,800. So even if we do nothing, we're over the tax cap just with the health care. And every year we cut something else to offset it so we don't go over it. But at some point, you're not going to cut anymore. So, again, between that and then, we look at just state retirement again, and not that I pick on the police at all, but they went up across the board. But I have that, that's another $19,000 just for state retirement. And then the workers' comp went up $13,000, and the Social Security went up. So you got $100,000 just in the police department, just in benefits you can't control, that went up. That's what happened last year. That's why we had a tax increase last year, because that, you know, there was our 100,000, so there's the money. So, you know, guys, got any feedback? What do you think that,
Let's start with the RFPs.
okay,
Yeah. But, I mean, I think that needs to be done every year, though. I do, just because it's my experience.
I agree. No, I agree. I agree.
And so, I mean, I know you weren't picking on the police, but I mean, as a whole, I mean, it should, all the insurance went up, right? I mean.
Oh,
it
yeah,
might have been the
I mean,
most-
between state retirement, workers' comp, social security, unemployment insurance, and healthcare, we're up almost 200 grand. So even last year that we cut some positions in parks and we saved that money, again, now we're breaking even again. So now next year, you know what I'm saying, every year, it's just gonna compile. And there's, you know, it's not like we're storing and increase revenue somehow. I mean, there's no revenue increase, or else we, you know, keep building monster projects. So again, I mean, we gotta control it somehow. I don't know how we control it. I mean, that's what we gotta figure out through doing the RFP and stuff, but that's our number, so. But just, you know, bringing it up because, and it's not getting any better, he said. It says 12% next year. I mean, that's huge, huge number.
And every municipality is faced with it.
Oh, they are. No, they are. They are. But again, our town runs like a city. It doesn't run like a small town. I mean, you know, again, other towns, they got, you know, a few employees and a few things going on. Here, it's, you know, it's a major, and we don't get the funding like a city. We get the funding like a town. So, you know, it's a big difference. But, you know, and again, our taxes, again, 1%, 17.8. There's not much there. You know, some towns or some cities, they got 1% increase. I mean, it's $1 million. You know what I mean? We got 17.8, so I mean, that's where it's at. So, but besides that, you know, we'll be under the cap. We have a pretty good budget, and I added, as we spoke last time, in this budget for drainage. I added, me and Rick sat down, had a long conversation. You know, we added in some people also too. We added in, you know, culvert pipes, catch basins, different items for storm drainage, right, Rick? So we added that. That was about $213,000 total that we've added to that project. So we'll try that out next year, see how that goes. And that's really the two major things. Everything else is pretty much on target, like we talked about.
We get that when we get the budget when.
Very next meeting should have it for you. I mean, I'm pretty much done. We're just waiting for the county. So,
I think we get that sooner.
I mean, I can give you copies of what I have right now. I just don't have the assessment in there, so I don't know where the exact number is going to fall.
I don't know, I brought up last year, we had it in September, like, did we bring it together, like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm done. There's nothing else for me to do.
just give us more time.
Yeah. So, but again, this budget doesn't add any extras. It doesn't add anything else that Rick needs, the trucks that we, he ordered, that kind of stuff. It doesn't add any. We had a truck that has a bad frame and parks that's down, plow. So now we're short a truck for that. So that's what I want to talk to you about too. There's a few items still outstanding. I want to have you guys think about them, maybe for the next meeting and see where we'll go with them. But, all right, so that's the budget. Rick has a dump box, completely rusted, not usable. It's about $25,000 for salt, correct?
It's a 10-wheeler that we use for David. We use it for hauling the grade off. We use it to move salt and sand from one shed to the other shed in winter time. Because all our other trucks have plows, not for plows. Cabin chassis got a few miles on it, but still good condition. But the box go down the road and stuff falls off the back. The side of the supports in the back are all rotted and gone. So it's just replacing the golf body, the new hoist, existing cabinets.
That box it's not stainless steel or
No,
whatever.
no,
This is just a regular.
This is regular, well, I wouldn't go the expense of that pipe not being in the truck. Just a regular stainless steel
That
box.
box. You paint it and everything and.
It's, you know,
So that,
stainless steel was like 38,000.
so that's that. Again, this is not added in the budget. Then we spoke, me and Rick spoke about the 2 trucks that we spoke about that he needed for plowing. Those 2 trucks were total $390. We were gonna go out to lease for those, but again, the banding rates right now are like way cheaper than that. They were like, what were we getting for change 4.8? You can get them at 3%. So I don't know if you guys still want to go lease for that, or do a band for that, or bond for that. We have the roof here that we spoke about. Police equipment and IT upgrades. As you know, we took money, we upgraded all the police hardware, and most of the computers that are there, the ones that were here for all the new IT. Chief got an email from Polchi saying at the end of next year, all the software has to be completely upgraded, and the switches and everything need all new patches, and that's in the tune of $70,000 for that.
Is it upgraded from what, Windows 7 to 10?
Windows 7 to 10, and then also the server, the Citrix, the switches are out of date, so they're going to need an upgrade. Anything else, Chief, that...
No, I think those are the 2 software packages, the 2 IT problems that I have. The end of life on them is January 14th of 2020, so we're talking just a few months from now.
Oh, okay, all right.
They don't support it anymore.
All right, so it's even shorter. But that's a $70,000 undertaking that's there. In parks, Rick actually told me about this, I guess in Whitesboro, they have one of the mowers that have the double arms on it. He does their whole park in a day. It takes us 4 days with the little mowers that we have. And actually, one of them is currently down. There's a mower that'll do the whole park in a day with one person. So I think going in the future, again, Rick could also use it too for cul-de-sacs and stuff. Might be a good idea to purchase that, I think, for efficiency, especially we're down another guy in parks that we're not gonna replace for retirement. He retired, so we don't have him anymore. And we get the job done a lot quicker, and he would help with summer help too for seasonal. So that's another thing to look at. The plow truck that's in parks that we plow with the sidewalks and other things around the town. Rick, what else do we do? Because we're not doing the police station no more. We do the library, right? Library. Yep. So that main truck that they have has got a bad frame. It's in bad shape. That needs to be upgraded, and the plow needs to be upgraded. That's on there. Dehumidifier, like we talked about, for the rec center, on 90th Street, which Jim talked about, Mallory Road, which I think, again, is something we should look at too at the same time if we do. The LED lighting that we'll have a meeting for through the Power Authority. Again, their interest rate is like in the high 4s. If we go through them, the lighting districts pay for it back. So that might be something that we look at too. Again, if we want to bond for that, it's like 3% instead of 4 to change. That's a huge savings. I mean, again, it's still credit out whichever way we go, but we could save a point and a half. It might be a way to do it. But again, and then also too, I was going to go out for a grant for the generators. We still don't have the generator for the building here. We have the disconnect switch, but we don't have the diesel generator outside. So those are things, again, that are open, that we spoke about, and things we might want to look at. I don't know if there's any other projects or things that come to mind that they're interested in doing this year.
In the sewer department, we'll go out for pump station rebuilds. I just did one just now, I went out to bid. We
got this stuff surplus or anything, and then you have that, we listed, the vehicles or mower or anything like that, surplus.
Oh, yeah.
Get a little-
The 2 vehicles there, I mean, we got counted will be surplus, the old one.
What we get out of it, you know?
Maybe 10, 12 grand, somewhere in that ballpark.
And all the stuff that I mentioned is all stuff that's, I mean, it's, you can't even sell it, I mean, scrap, most of it. The other lawnmower parts are scrap, I mean, the truck's scrap. The plow's been broken on it, that the joystick don't even work, Rick knows that.
I went to Mike's down, and I was talking to Sal to see what, they have parts just like we do. And that's where I went up there and saw this Jacobson mower that is, it's got the batteries right on the mower. It's got a cap on it, it's 4-wheel drive. And that's what they motor parts that they make. Twice, they did the same thing we did now. They purchased that, and just so much time saved. We already have the trailers that can be moved from one part to the other. Your soccer fields, everything. You're talking 14 feet, 16 feet width versus 52 inches. That's much.
Put these in the golf course.
Yeah, it just makes sense that how much time would be saved.
What was it, did they give you an estimate what that was kind of ranging in?
I think you got that far yet.
I think it was 700 or 75.
Yeah,
But then also too, even with the trucks and parks too, I'd like to get on that same, system like Rick's got. We buy it and the next year we sell it, we get the same amount of money for it and we keep upgrading, because trucks, pickup trucks are in demand. And I think that's gonna work, because right now what happened was, they haven't really been upgraded for so long, so they're all just beat every one in the shop. I mean, it just doesn't even pay to put any more money into them. I mean, Rick's, yeah, I mean, it's, and again, even the plows, I mean, the plows are just beat, one of them, doesn't even work, I mean, so, if we can get on a schedule like that, I think when you trade your truck over, you have to come up with a couple dollars, just $100, nothing. Yeah, so you got a brand new truck and you have to come up with anything, Again, there's this demand for services, you gotta perform them, you can't with the stuff not working correctly, so. So you guys think about that, those are the items that really stand out, really need attention this year coming. And, that's it. Everybody take a look at the vouchers. Motion by Dave. Second by Rich, discussion. All in favor? Aye. Anything else, anybody? No?
Just the roads, we started to put filters on it, Snowy Hill tomorrow, and Hills Golf. And weather committee Friday, we may get it stolen in a while, both those roads get stolen in a while. Seals that,
It's supposed to be nice rest of the week.
yeah,
Good weekend.
but leafers are ready to go. They've been serviced, the Drupa colors put in, and we're all ready to go.
It's gonna happen quite a while.
Yeah, it is.
So,
It always does.
The mayor just wanted to thank you for your help for the roads here.
That was great. And Foxcroft retention is a week and a half, 2 weeks away.
I'd say we can have 2 weeks away, and we'll get in there and start making a path.
Good.
One executive session.
Okay. So we need a motion to go into executive session to discuss a specific employee.
So moved.
Motion by Dave, second by Rich, discussion. All in favor?
You guys see that Bob is serious stuff.
As far as I'm concerned, we ought to be taking over. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Oh, you have to come out of executive session.
Motion?
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Rich. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion by Rich,
Second.
second by Rich. Discussion, all in favor? Aye. All right, thanks, everyone.
You've been watching the boys across the street?
Yeah, a lot of big.